Everybody is entitled to their opinion. I have a job to do. We are a country of rules. We are a constitutional democracy and citizens, because we all enjoy the freedom of speech, freedom of thought. Citizens are free to engage in discourse that they want to, but that is what it is. Those are the fruits and signs of a democracy.
But this is no ordinary discourse, Mr. President. Over 20 people are dead. 39 are missing through state-driven abductions. And first, they're asking a very simple question. 24 people dead. Your Excellency, do you have blood on your hands?
I have no blood on my hands. 19 people, to the record that I have from the security agencies, are dead. Very unfortunate. As a democracy, that should not be part of our conversation. 2.4 billion of property has been destroyed. The office of the Chief Justice has been burnt. City Hall has been burnt. Parliament has been burnt. That is the situation. We have 19 people dead.
Your Excellency.
We have 19 people
24.
Dead.
You said 19. Let's turn lives.
And number two,
Your Excellency.
On abductions.
Your Excellency, let's turn lives. There are people who are burying their children, whether they're 19 or 24, and they're watching now, and they want to see how you feel about the deaths. Give us your feeling.
And these are real human beings. Don't you feel a sense of responsibility for what is going on in the country?
Let me tell you the following. Any life that is lost is something that must bother anybody, beginning with myself. And it is the reason why I have told you that when I came into office, I said three things. Number one, I said there will be no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. That's number one. And I have made sure that there is no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. That's number one. Number two, when I came into office, I said I want an independent police service. And I did sign the necessary instruments so that the police does not need permission, does not need authority, and does not report to the office of the president. The police operational, financial independence, I have made sure that the police don't have to ask me, don't ask anybody. They operate independently. And number four, it is true that children got into situations that they became victims of the demonstrations. What started to all of us, and I have spoken about it, I have said, the young people who have stepped forward to engage in the political discourse of their country in a peaceful manner, tribeless, are a welcome development in Kenya. That I said. But let me also say the following. These great young people who have stepped forward to prosecute their agenda, the affairs of the country, I am certain that they did not ban parliament. Criminals and other agents who
Shinda Mbulu Daily na Euro 2024. Hit the highest odds.
Who took advantage over legitimate concern of Kenyans, stepped in, went and banned the Chief Justice's office, went and banned City Hall, went and banned Parliament, and destroyed property of innocent citizens.
The parents, Mr. President, what
So
are you telling them? These things have
I am
happened
telling
under your
every-
watch.
I am telling
under your
every-
watch.
I am telling every parent, I have kids like they do, and I care when there are issues in town where criminals can take advantage of situations and create a situation where the police have to use rubber bullets, the police have to use live bullets in some cases, because that is what an independent police service has to do. And I am sure the police have a record and have an explanation for every incident that they were engaged
And here
in.
is the incident, Mr. President. Here is the incident, Mr. President. This boy, 12-year-old, took 8 bullets into the body of a 12-year-old boy. What would you tell the mother of that boy?
That boy is alive, right?
No, it's not.
Kennedy Onyango died.
He's died.
So he's the one who died.
Yes.
So you're not talking about the person who was shot with rubber bullets,
No.
No.
yeah?
Shot with bullets 8 times.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
in Ngong, this is the situation in Ngong, right? In Ngong, there was an incident where the police were overpowered by criminals. They took firearm from the police. They used that firearm against people. And one policeman had to shoot this fellow who had hijacked a gun from a policeman so that not to endanger the lives of more citizens. It is among the 3 people. One of the criminals is among the 3 people who was shot by the police after they overpowered the police and took the bullet and took the gun from the police and used it against innocent citizens. I cannot confirm to you that this is not the man that shot the child, but investigations are going on and we will get to the bottom of it.
Mr. President,
I am telling the mother of this young person that I, as president, will make sure that finally I will give her an explanation of what really happened and make sure that we bring this to a situation where, like her, like myself who have children, she too can be, her child can be accounted for.
Mr. President, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights is the one that has accounted for 24 bodies lying in morgues. And those bodies, the records show that these people either died in hospital and while undergoing treatment for gunshot wounds, or they ended up in the morgue in the last 2 weeks with gunshot wounds. 24. These 24, Mr. President, are you saying that the security agencies have told you that these 24 were criminals, that these 24 were armed, they were posing a danger to the police officers, and that is what necessitated the police to use live bullets on them? Because the circumstances for the police officer to use a live bullet is clear, even in their own code of operations. It is when the life of that police officer is in danger, or when somebody else's life is clearly in danger, and the person who's endangering that person is armed. Were the 24 armed? Did they pose a danger, a direct threat to the police?
2 things. The same Kenya Human Rights Commission,
Kenya National Commission.
Kenya National Commission,
The government agency.
yeah, the government agency,
Yes.
told the nation that there was a massacre in Githurai and 20 people were killed in Githurai. Were 20 people killed in Githurai? Really?
The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights does not have records of 20 people killed.
No,
in
but
Kenya.
that's their statement. It is a statement that is public, you know. So the same Kenya Human Rights, Kenya Commission, Human Rights, National Human Rights Commission, told the country a blatant fake news, falsehood. That
Are you saying this,
a massacre.
this 24 is also...
Let me, you ask me a question, allow me to answer.
Yes.
That's what they told the country. So an organization that can tell the country without verifying that there was a massacre in Githurai. In fact, BBC, on that account, went to investigate in Githurai. And of course, you have read, BBC has said there was no massacre in Githurai.
Mr. President,
there was one person who was shot by the police. Let me answer. Yeah. So, an organization that is as reckless as to say there was a massacre when there was none, now is telling us there are 24, the police are saying 19. We will find out where the numbers are. But that is the credibility of the organization that you are telling.
Mr. President,
let me also...
My question, Mr. President,
just so that Eric can follow up.
The people who died,
yeah, that's where I'm coming.
Are they a danger?
That's where I'm coming.
Are they the criminals that you're talking about?
Let me tell you two things. There will be an investigation on how these 19 Kenyans died. There will be a clarity, an explanation for each and every one of them. I have told you one situation where somebody accosted the police, took over the firearm, started to shoot at people, endangering the lives of many other Kenyans. He was shot by the police. There is a situation in Parliament. How did the invaders in Parliament? They invaded Parliament and went straight for the armory at the Mausoleum. They went straight at the armory at the Sergeant-at-Arms office. Those are the investigations that we will get into, and a proper explanation will be given to the country.
Are weapons lost?
What I am saying...
Are the weapons at the armories and the Mausoleum and inside Parliament?
That is why there will be an investigation of how these armories were attacked and how did these people know that there was an armory in Parliament?
Mr. President, you may not believe the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, but surely you would believe your own deputy who has said there's been a return to extrajudicial killings and abductions, contrary to what you and him promised the people of Kenya.
Let me tell you, I am the president, and I speak for the government of Kenya, right? And so this is what I'm telling you. I made 3 commitments that I will make sure the police is independent, and I did that on my first day in office. Number 2, I said there will be no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. I have kept my promise. Number 3, I have told you that if there is any arrest by the police, that does not amount to an abduction. In my very honest
let's pause for a moment, Mr. President, and I just want us to go to that video over there, which will play on here, and let's pause and watch it together, Your Excellency. Let's watch this video.
Tell them to the people of Kenya, there are enough intelligent people in Kenya to differentiate what is good from what is better and what is best. Ni jambo mbaya sana kama tutatumia askari polisi wako na maoni tofauti ya kisiasa. Waeleza ya kwamba these people don't understand the damage they are doing to the people and the economy of Kenya.
All right. Yes, the video in contention here was recorded earlier today.
Yes.
That of former MP Alfred Keter being abducted in broad daylight. Mr. President, before you even talk about the entire incident, the children were screaming, and the sound that we believe belongs to the wife was also heard, screaming in distress. How does that make you feel?
3 things. I have told you, I made a deliberate decision to make sure that the police operate independently. That's number 1. Number 2, I have told you, if the police summon Linus Kaikai
Check this out. Want a quick and easy way to make tons of pro-looking videos all by yourself? Look.
And Linus Kaikai refuses to go to the police. Are the police not entitled to come and look for you? When the police come to arrest you after they have summoned you and you didn't show up, is that an abduction?
So let's have this as a confirmation. Let's have this as a confirmation, Your Excellency, that Alfred Keter was summoned by police. He refused to.
The police have issued a statement. I would suggest, instead of us having a back and forth, the police have released a statement. Can you check what the police have released, the statement?
And you still have not answered my question. With the wife and children screaming that way.
I mean,
how do you feel, Your Excellency?
I mean, my friend, every child, every mother feels the same when their parent is under attack. I mean, that is what it is. But let me ask you, what about the children? What about the children of those who have lost their lives because of the criminality of others? Don't they feel the same? So we just need to be a country of the rule of law. Impunity cuts both ways. Those who respect the law must be protected by the law. Those who do not respect the law must face the full force of the law. That's how it operates. That's how we will have a society. Here's the same way we must condemn excessive use of police powers, but we must equally deal firmly and decisively with criminals who put the lives of other Kenyans in danger, destroy property of hard-earned earnings. There are many people like us in this demonstration that have lost livelihoods, that today their children are crying. Today their wives are in tears because they don't know how to face tomorrow.
Mr. President,
their businesses have been wiped out, their incomes have been destroyed. I have just told you 2.4 billion shillings worth of business has been destroyed. And today, as I talk to you this evening, there are families who have tears. There are families who do not know how to face tomorrow.
And I've asked you very specifically, President, how do you feel about those tears, especially those who have been killed by police bullets?
It is horrible. It is horrible. When you find a situation where people are grieving, whether they are grieving because their parents have been arrested, or they are grieving because their hard-earned earnings of many years, monies there I have on my phone. People who are saying, I borrowed money. My whole loan has been wiped out. My whole barbershop has been destroyed. My whole hardware has been looted and burnt. And they are in tears. So I must equally work with the police to protect all these citizens. And it cuts both ways, Linus. It cuts both ways.
Using the rule of law.
Absolutely.
Let me take you to just
absolutely the rule of law.
Law says the rule of law requires the police to investigate a matter, to, when they have sufficient evidence, present that to the ODPP. The Director of Public Prosecutions takes people who are culpable to court. That's the journey in the rule of law, Mr. President.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of 39 people who have been abducted, and the abduction here, we're using it deliberately because of the manner in which the people have been arrested, like you've seen in the case of Alfred Keter. Others who've been picked up from their houses in the middle of the night, and they are held incommunicado for more than 24 hours outside of what the rule of law says. And then they are not taken to court, so they are not charged with anything. That is outside of the rule of law. So in one instance here we are saying we are not following the rule of law. In the second instance, Mr. President, you have people who were unarmed, like in the case of Rex, who was shot in the middle of the night unarmed, who have been shot by police and they've ended up dead. 24 of them. You say 19. That again is extrajudicial because there is no justification that has been produced to show that there was justification for the police to use the excessive force. So basically we're showing examples where the rule of law, which you promised to uphold, which you also set and said, this is what the police has been doing. And you said, Mr. President, as you took office, that the problems with the police service also are going to the top, the leadership of the police service. And you promised the people of Kenya that you're going to hold the police to account outside of the rule of law and accountability, which comes to your desk. Are you holding the police accountable for 39 people abducted, for 24 people killed, for 627 people arrested and not charged, for 431 people injured by live bullets, rubber bullets, tear gas canisters, police batons?
Latif, as I have told you, we must operate within the parameters of the rule of law. And I agree with you. The police must never act outside the framework of the rule of law. They must do that which only the Constitution and the law allows them to do. And it is very clear that any operation of the police outside the parameters of the law, the police will be held to account. Whether it is holding citizens beyond the stipulated time, but I must be thoroughly clear to you. When police arrest somebody, there is a constitutional timeline which they are allowed by the law to hold that person.
24
hours. That does not amount to an abduction.
24 hours.
In my opinion. A case in point is what has just been said here about what happened earlier today. And you guys clearly said in this conference that it was an abduction. I mean, it's just clear now that it is not an abduction. This is an arrest. And the police have come forward to say, this is the situation, we have arrested this person, and it is just good for us to all of us follow the law. And I agree with you, the police must act within the law. But let me ask you one question also, Latif. I have never, in this conversation, which is now 20 minutes in, are you guys bothered about the fact that Parliament was banned? Are you guys concerned that millions of businesses of Kenyans, hardworking Kenyans, were destroyed? How do you feel?
But it also,
how do you feel?
And it all happened under your watch, Mr. President.
No, but this is
at the end of the day,
this is why we are saying
you sought to keep us
we
safe.
must be even. You know, we must be even. The police have a difficult job. They have to make sure the peaceful demonstrators are protected. But they also must make sure that the criminals, and when you say criminals, you know, when I said the other day criminals, many people took offense that I was calling the demonstrators criminals. That's not,
that is not, that's a lot of offense. Family of Rex. Rex was killed in a week when the protesters were very peaceful. The first week of this protest were peaceful. We saw protesters carrying
placards
and water bottles.
Rex was killed on his way out of work.
Let me
How do you feel? I mean,
let me tell you.
when they hear say criminals.
I mean, are you telling me Rex is the one who banned Parliament?
But Rex died without breaking.
No, I'm just telling you.
He died before.
There are criminals who infiltrated and caused mayhem. And in fact, some of the criminals are actually harmed. They actually harmed the peaceful protesters. Many of the peaceful protesters, they lost phones. They were attacked. In fact, some of the peaceful protesters were attacked by criminals. including a clear example of the one I have explained to you, that they overpowered the police, took the gun from the police, and started shooting innocent people. So we must deal with this situation globally.
Mr. President,
I feel for Rex and the mother. This should not happen to any child in Kenya, especially when they are engaged in a peaceful demonstration.
Mr. President, the concern I've heard from the young people, because I've been speaking to a lot of them, and they said they haven't heard you in the two statements. Actually, there are more now because you have spoken in other settings apart from the two addresses you gave. They haven't heard you address them. They haven't heard you talk to these parents. They haven't heard you acknowledge that there were people who were shot by police in circumstances that did not warrant that. Are you saying you haven't seen anything that bothers you about how police responded to these protests?
I am very, and I have, and in my first statement, I clearly said that innocent lives were lost. In my second statement, I said the same. There were innocent lives lost. But also equally, as a person who is responsible, I must think about those who are suffering because they were innocent. But I must also be concerned about those who are suffering because criminals cause them immense harm. And that is the balance that I need to be able to lead a country. I must protect everybody. I must protect the protesters, and I must be concerned about their lives. I must also protect innocent people who become victims of criminals who take advantage of a peaceful, democratic process that goes on in our country.
Do you feel that you protected all those people in the last couple of days, whether it is people who are businesses, whether it is parliament, whether it is the people who lost their children?
I did my best. If I hadn't done what I did, things would have been much worse. In fact, many people ask me, Mr. President, why did you call in the army? I mean, what choice did I have? I mean, it would have been very reckless of me in the face of the kind of harm people had gone through, the 19 lives that were already lost, in the face of a burning Chief Justice office, Parliament, and the rest of it. I mean, it would have been very reckless of me not to mobilize every arm of government and every arm of our security agencies to protect the country and to protect lives.
You acted as Commander-in-Chief. You also acted as President, Head of Government, and the person who took the sword and promised to protect the people of Kenya. You chair the National Security Council, which brings in the head of the police, the head of the intelligence, the head of the military, and cabinet secretaries in those dockets. Did you have information prior to Tuesday that there was going to be infiltration of the peaceful demonstrations by the criminal elements that you've talked about more than once? And if you did, what did you do about it?
We had information, and that is why we prepared in the manner in which we did. If we hadn't prepared in the manner in which we did, we would not be counting 19. We would be counting different numbers.
Okay.
And I am telling you that the level of mobilization by criminals was heavy. In fact, many of the peaceful protesters, many of the young people, very well-meaning young people, left the town by 10, maybe 11, because they realized, and in fact you could hear them in their zelo. They were saying, guys, this is not our group. Let us go. Let us leave. You could hear them. It was in public domain that the peaceful demonstrators all of a sudden realized that the whole thing had metamorphosed into criminality.
So the criminal elements that's basically hijacked. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it is Sunday. Mr. President, how many people are in custody on account of